Okay, it's Tuesday, October 14th. I'm getting the Trike all packed up because I'm not leaving yet, but I am going to a class where I'm going to show off the Trike and answer some questions. Two classes actually. One is a video class where we'll talk about how I do my little documentaries, which I have been not so diligent on recently, editing wise. And the other thing is a physical fitness class where we're going to talk about some of the health benefits of riding and what I do to stay healthy, and just kind of talk to the students about how I feel, and also compare the differences between a Trike and a bike, or at least plan that out. I don't think we'll do the test comparison today, but maybe we'll set it up for the weekend. Later. This is something that I thought about a long time ago when we kind of met over social networking and everything, and then finally met in person, and I was like, this is something that should be happening at schools, and it happens at universities, it's commonplace there, but it just doesn't happen in public schools wherever we're from. So here we have more freedom, we have a little bit easier way of doing things, so I think this is one of the virtues you get of being in a true international school. So I'm excited for it. Hope you guys are excited as well. This is Mr. Matthew Galat of JaYoe. If you would have come to me about 5 years ago and told me that I would be wearing spandex pants and have my entire life laid out in front of you for the next 5 years, I would have thought you were crazy. But things often change, especially when you get out there and go around the world and you start living abroad, like all of you have already with your schooling. I was probably around 17, 18 when I started leaving my home in Detroit and expanding out into the world. I grew up in Detroit. My dad was a plumber, a carpenter, an electrician. His hands had big sausage fingers that were worn. Today he's not very old, but he's broken down. And he used to tell me that, Matt, if you're going to do something with your life, make sure that you don't end up with hands like mine, Make sure that you use your brain and you go out there and you take chances and you live life smart and not so hard. I don't know if you'd look at me now and say, maybe, Matt, you're living your life pretty hard, because actually it's pretty hard, but at least I'm living it the way I want to live it. Show of hands, USA? JaYoe. Europe? JaYoe. Asia? All right. Cool. Africa? No, Africa. Okay, cool. Now, this is an amazing trip I've put together. In essence, it's unlike anything anybody has ever done. That's not to say that people don't ride bikes around the world. Right now, as I stand here, there's probably 300 people at least that are trying to ride a bicycle around the entire world. That's what I've heard statistically. So right now, as you sit here, as you're studying your work, there are people off on adventures in all parts of the world, and I find that pretty amazing. This was something that was born out of desire, right? Not a lot of people can say that what they're doing, their job, whether it's sitting behind a desk or being an engineer, that they're truly happy at it, And I learned when I moved to China that about 5 years ago, that what I was doing was not what I wanted to do in my heart, It's important to do what you love to do, because we only have one life that we know of, and once it's over, it's over. And a lot of people wait till retirement. I'll work really hard for the next 40 years doing something maybe I don't like to do, but I have to do to make money, to do what I want to do later when my body's not available to me to do it, you know? Maybe you're too tired or your joints are too weak. I came to China as a businessman. I had a trading company. So I was doing this. It was actually a pretty cool job. I get to use my brain. I get to create products. I'm my own boss, so I'm making my own money. But my life was motivated by dollar signs, you know? My idea of success was money. If I had it, it meant I was happy. But what you end up finding out is that when you have it, you just want more of it, and you got to work harder to get it, and then you dig yourself in a hole to where pretty soon you have so much money, then you got to keep it, and then everything just starts spiraling around. People want your money, and money creates a lot of happiness, but it can also create a lot of problems. I met a couple of people in my life that steered my life away from this path of success is equal to money. And I'm not saying that wealth is not a good thing to pursue, because obviously we all need money to survive. But I met some people that had alternative views on life. One of them was Ryan. Ryan is an extremely good-looking Los Angeles surfer guy that I met in Ningbo. I grew up in Ningbo. Who knows where Ningbo is? Raise your hand. Not a lot. It's just 10 million people live there. It's super small. It's up near Shanghai. It's a big port city. Actually, a lot of your products probably come out of Ningbo. You don't even know it. But I met this guy at a Thanksgiving party. He had a different view on life. He wasn't motivated by money at all. I lived a very life motivated by success and money. It was very much, this was followed by this, created this type of wealth. His life was very experiential. I did this, I did this. The net result was a more fruitful, wiser Ryan, you know? And so he would do trips with me. We would go on these little excursions, and we called them the Rogue Adventures, because Rogue is kind of like the guy that's going against the grain. And we used to go to a train station in Ningbo, and we would just look up at the board of locations above the train station like ticket area, and I'd look at him and I'd say, well, where do you want to go? And he'd say, I don't know, just pick one. And we'd pick one, and we'd make a weekend of it. We didn't know where we were going. We didn't know what it was like when we got there. We tried to pick a place that wasn't like, you know, not going to Lhasa or anything, you know, it's not going to Mongolia, but someplace that we could get to relatively quickly, and we would create an experience for ourselves. We would generate out of nothing a good time. Who here has ever done a trip that you had absolutely no plan for, but it turned out pretty awesome? Anybody? Okay. I should see more of those hands, okay? Because it's really a cool thing. Obviously, you got to stay safe. You know, don't you know, wear one pair of shorts and nothing, no money. No, you carry some things with you. But by dictating the result of where you're going, you're predetermining what you're going to do. And that predetermination eliminates a whole variety of things that happen when you're spontaneous. So me and Ryan had a lot of these rogue adventures. And my mind changed from a life motivated by success and money to this new place. It's like walking outside your door and you open the door and, wow, you know, I didn't notice that. I didn't know that I could do that. You know, you grow up in your house, you grow up under your father or your mother, and they all have these lives that they live. But when you go abroad and you meet other people, suddenly your sphere of influence grows. So you learn some new things about new people. So that ingrained in me a desire for going out without a plan, without any borders. But that wasn't enough to create this. There took some other pieces. One of those other pieces I found when I was laying on the beach, slightly hungover from the night before, on an island called Koh Phangan. Anybody know Koh Phangan in Thailand? Good. Because there's a party there that is insane, like a party you've never heard of, and you should wait a few years before you go there. But I would recommend it, maybe. So this party is epic. 20,000 people on a beach, dancing, fire dancers, and which actually inspired me to start. Anybody know what these are? Poi, yeah, poi, fire dancing poi. Notice I haven't lit them yet. They just sit around. I was inspired to do fire dancing, and I always say, hey, I'm going to learn that, but it never ends up happening. Anyways, I was lying on the beach, and a couple of guys walked past me. And one of them had a big camera on his shoulder, and the other one had a vest. The vest had a whole bunch of logos, like a NASCAR driver, you know, just logos everywhere. And he's walking backwards, and he's going, so I'm on the island here at Koh Phangan, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about jazz. Jazz in Koh Phangan is special, and his voice kind of trails away. And my ears perked up, and I was like, what is that guy doing? At that time in my life, I had a Canon 5D Mark I, and I was taking pictures, and I really enjoyed photography. And I was just getting into videography. Capturing videos is amazing, you know, and to be able to show them to your friends and do something quality is like capturing life, you know. So I saw these guys, and my ears perked up. What are they doing, you know? So I found them. I pulled them aside. I said, hey, guys, what are you doing? What is this? And the story is, they were two American teachers, just normal teachers. They maybe didn't enjoy their job so much. They wanted to do something different. So what they did is they took a trip. And on this trip, I'm not sure where it was in Southeast Asia somewhere, they made a video. And they thought about their passions in life. Their passions were travel and jazz music. So they made a video. It was just off the cuff. It had no purpose. It wasn't like they were selling this video. But they created something that they enjoyed and they were passionate about. And this video was, hey, I'm in, I don't know, we're just arrived at the hotel. We're going to go and find some jazz. We're going to find some musicians. And they had some connections, and they found these people. They interviewed them. They posted the video on YouTube and created a blog around it. This blog caught the attention of Asia Air. You know Asia Air? And Asia Air said, hey, guys, we like your video. As long as you go to the places that we fly to, we'll sponsor you. And we'll give you some money for you and your friend to travel around the world and make videos and put them on the blog. Just make sure you put Asia Air on your lapel. And then another company, make sure you put a little more, right? And they, from this true passion, truly what they're passionate about, they created a lifestyle. And when I met these guys, it was like opening a door to a new world that you didn't know existed. We watch TV, we see Bear Grylls, you know, climbing mountains. We see, you know, Fred Durst. We see, you know, all these people, you know, in this world on a box. You know, and you film guys, everybody here that does film knows, you know, you're creating this thing that you look at, but not a lot of people can think that that's reality. Most of the time, it isn't reality at all. That's why, you know, you see Kim Kardashian shaking it. No, that's real, you know. But sometimes you find that some of those stories are real, and they're built by real people. And I met these guys, and they said that they do film and travel, and they were able to combine it into a lifestyle. So, okay. So I took a little mental note, and I looked at my little piggy bank of experience, and I saw, okay, I've got Ryan. Ryan is this world traveler that doesn't worry about money, has no care in the world, but still gets by and has amazing experiences. Okay, that's possible. Then I look at these guys, and I said, they've combined the art of video with the passion for travel. Okay, that's possible. Okay. I'm very close to this. There's just one missing component. And that came in my time in China as well. I was talking to a couple of my French friends. Yeah, I'm American and got French friends. That's pretty cool. When you grow up and you start spreading your world, you start learning that, you know, I have Iranian friends and Tajikistani friends and, you know, friends from all over the world. It's pretty amazing. So I was having dinner with these guys, and they said, oh, we're going to invite our friend Alex over. And Alex came to dinner. And around the table, topics were coming up. They hadn't seen Alex in a long time, and they said, so, man, what's going on with the bike trip book? And he's like, I don't know. We're selling some book copies, but, you know, it's just going. And I said, what are you talking about? What bike trip book? And Alex and his best friend were living in Australia. And they thought it would be, their visa was ending, their contract was coming to a close, and they were about to go home back to France. And they didn't want to do it on a plane. They didn't want to do it the normal way. They wanted to do something adventurous. So even though they didn't have any experience on a bike other than maybe going to school, riding from here to there, they bought a couple of road bikes. They got a couple of bags of clothes together, and they rode their bikes from Southeast Asia all the way to France. And it took them 18 months. They rode through 20-some countries. They wrote a book about it. And they had some really amazing experiences. Again, the door opened onto a whole new world. I had never met anybody that had done an adventure like that. You hear about them. Maybe your friend goes and sees one at the bar. Hey, yeah, I met this guy. He did this amazing trip. But to actually sit down, shake their hand, find out, wow, this guy is not like, his blood is red just like me. He gets up in the morning, puts his pants on same way. And we had a long talk. And there was a couple of things I gained from this guy. One, he was very normal. There was nothing extraordinary about who he was. It was extraordinary what he did, and maybe the thoughts in his head were pretty amazing. But it was just like you, just like you, just like you. You could go and do an amazing thing, and there's nothing stopping you, And second, they didn't have any athletic superiority. They weren't gods of, their legs were not, tree trunk size, and they weren't just this muscular physique. They were just normal guys, got a couple of bikes, did something amazing. So now I look at my piggy bank, and I say, okay, I can do something without worrying about money. I can find money if I need to via videos and production, and I can do it on any mode of transportation I want. All these boundaries were broken. Oh, bicycle, walking. I found a guy, he's walking around the world. Right now he's in Russia, and he's almost completed his round-the-world walk, literally walking. Obviously, that took him 20 years. I don't necessarily want to take 20 years to walk around the world. So I sat down, and I said, okay, what am I going to do? I've got an ability. I'm 35 years old, so I'm not beyond the age where your body starts to break down, like in your late 40s, 50s, whatever, 60s, depending on how, okay, I'm going to offend some people. Anyways, whatever. You're never too old, okay? Let me take that back. Thank you. Yeah. So I was at a point in my life where I had an opening. Things were happening in my business that could run without me. I could let my business continue to go, and I had this period of time. It started, I think I'm going to go halfway around, like, to Lhasa. I'll go for all of China, And I tried to put together some friends to do something like this. It wasn't epic yet. It was just pretty cool. People do this. They ride their bikes to Lhasa. And actually, the people that I wanted to ride to Lhasa with backed out at the last minute. The whole adventure fell apart. And I was like, now I got to do something bigger, If that fell apart, I got to do something bigger. So I started thinking big. And I started thinking about all the people I'd met in China. Now, okay, I'm going to ask you guys a question. What is an amazing thing that one of your friends have done that you would like to do? Raise your hand and tell me. Come on. You all have interesting people in your lives. You must have heard some stories. Come on.
Maybe even an adult in your life.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be,
Relative or something.
Yeah.
Say scuba diving.
Where? Specific. Let's be specific.
In probably Bali.
Bali? Okay. You?
Me.
Yeah.
The old guy.
Yeah. No.
Hang out with the reindeer herders up in Mongolia.
Okay, that is cool. I haven't done it, but I've heard about that as well. Did you know somebody that went up there? Okay. I'll put one in. A friend of mine was in Thailand, and in a monastery, he meditated for 10 days. Didn't say a word. Woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning, ate one meal a day, went to bed very early, and I'm guessing his ass hurt like crazy because he was sitting on the ground the whole time. But all of that pain, he says, was worth the last 2 days when he was so centered and his body was so cleansed and he had focused so much to go inside his own mind that he had not necessarily an epiphany, but he had a moment where things in his life became crystal clear. And the important things became maybe not so important. And maybe something that wasn't so important became the most important. And his priorities completely changed. That story was amazing to me when he told me over dinner. And I said, wow, I'm going to add that to my list. You know? Another guy swam with great white sharks in South Africa. Swam with them. Oh, I'm going to add that to the list. I met a guy that wingsuit jumps. You know? Like actually has the wings and he jumps out of planes. That's on the list, you know? And so my list became very long. Has anybody ever done this? Wrote a list of everything that they really want to accomplish in their life? Raise your hands. How many items on the list? 20? Okay. How many items? 50? I'm going to challenge you all to write 100 things that you want to accomplish before you die. Okay? And I want you to try and get those things done before you're 50. Okay? You know, it's a big job. But you know, life is only one, you know? And we only have so much time to do everything we want to do. You'll find that to list 100 items is actually pretty hard. When you think about everything, what you want to do, and not like, I want to get a hamburger tomorrow, you know. These are big things. These are like, I want to go skiing in the French Alps. I want to set foot on the South Pole. You know? I want to hug a polar bear for a few seconds before it mauls me. Anyways, you know, you got to figure these things out, what you really want. You know, when you list 100 items, you'll find maybe your priorities will change. Maybe you'll find out, well, it seems like a lot of these things are leaning towards this area. Well, that wasn't for me. I listed 100 items, and they were all over the map. Literally all over the map. I had a huge job ahead of me. I had to accomplish everything, and I had to do it as quick as I could, but still be relaxed and enjoy life. So I created that. And that map has everything I've really wanted to do in my life. It has, this is the Maldives. I've scuba dived in the Maldives, swam with whale sharks and big, huge manta rays and sharks of all variety. I love scuba diving. I love the water. Right here, that's Kathmandu. That marks probably the pinnacle of adventure for most people. Is this my coffee?
Yeah, that's you.
Awesome. This is, yeah, sorry. This is Mount Everest, the tallest mountain in the world. When you're standing on that, you're the tallest person in the world for a very short time, 5 minutes. But I have paid an expedition company to help me to get to the top of the mountain. That's happening in March. End of March, I start my ascent into Mount Everest. And it wasn't cheap. Climbing Mount Everest costs around $50,000 US just to try it. And if you don't do it, they still take the $50,000. But I saved, you know. I looked at the list, I prioritized, and I said, what's more important, a beautiful car, you know, a big house, you know, stainless steel appliances, or, you know, climbing up Mount Everest? I prioritized, and I said, this is more important to me. Experience over items, you know. So yeah, Mount Everest. this is my path. I've already started. I started right here. That's where Ningbo is. No, actually, I think it's better just to go through the whole thing. So Ningbo's right here. I've already started, but I'm very early in it. I started at August 15th, so I'm about 2 months into it, and I've gone 2,000 kilometers. So that's pretty good. That's about 1,000 kilometers, you know. I'm doing about 60 kilometers a day on the Trike. I'll get to the Trike next. But so from here, I continue on through Southeast Asia. This is Cambodia, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, Thailand, Myanmar, Nepal, India, all the way down to Sri Lanka, all the way back up, across Pakistan and Iran. I'll stay in Iran for a little while, as long as IS stays at bay. And then I'll cross Saudi Arabia, entering through Dubai, crossing the Gulf, the Oman, into Sudan, Egypt, and then I don't know. I gotta. This map I created 2 years ago, before Syria was a bunch of just mess, and everything is a mess here. But you know, when you hear the news and you hear about all the tragedy and the trouble going on in the world, those are very, in most cases, those are very localized pockets of trouble. You know, IS is growing into a larger situation, but for the most part, like Pakistan. Pakistan, if you were in America and you said, I'm going to cross Pakistan, a lot of people would tell you, well, you might want to avoid that place. You know, I hear through CNN that it's pretty rough over there, you know. But if you talk to travelers, they'll say that out of their world journey, Pakistan was one of the most friendly and beautiful countries they've ever been to. So
we encountered this a little bit, not me, but all of our year 2 cast IBs. Are there any of those that went on the Thailand trip last year? Probably not. You're mostly year 1s. But so the year 2, they all went to Thailand. They did a cast trip, building a home, habitat type thing, and that was right when all the things were happening in Bangkok, all the
red shirt
issues, yeah. And it was a lot of our even parents were really up in arms. You're not going to still take them, are you? We're like, it's all right. It's much more sensationalized, and they do this. Why? They do it to get ratings, right? I mean, they're going to put news. Yeah. They're going to make it. They're going to want you to watch. That's how they get paid. So, and then of course, all of our year 2 IB students went there, and it was amazing. You can ask any of them. There was not even a hint of political issues at all. So that's a good example of that.
Who here has gotten a call from back home and said, is that Hong Kong thing affecting you? You know, right? Right? Are you guys okay? There are people in the streets, you know. You can go to Hong Kong right now and you won't see any of that. You know, you got to go to those localized areas. So anyways, I want to check marks off my passport and places gone. So I'll go through all the Slovak countries, cross from Greece to Italy, go all the way up to the top of Norway, and I would like on my bucket list to see the North Pole. There are some expeditions that go there. Once I leave there, I come down, go to Iceland, come back through the Falkland Islands, go all the way down, go to the UK, come back, hit all the European countries there, bounce from the Rock of Gibraltar into Africa, follow the west coast, bounce over. I think I've added recently Tanzania to my list because I hear it's a beautiful country. So cross over the east, head back down. At Cape Town, I'll do my swimming with great white sharks, and then I'll have to hitch a ride on a freighter. The idea is I don't take any planes. Planes are kind of like cheating, you know. You go over an area so fast and so high that your experience is limited to the cabin of the plane. And I don't want that. I want everything that I do to be experiential. So I want to get a job, whether it's on a big freighter or a private yacht that needs to get transportation across. I'll do that. At the tip of South America, there's expeditions down to Antarctica. I'm going to get myself aboard one of those. I don't know how, but I will. And then I hit back, cruise up, Santiago, cross over to Rio, have a little party in Brazil. Yeah. And then head over to Machu Picchu, try to keep all my money and valuables through Colombia and Venezuela, cross into Central America, go to Cancun. At this point right here is a sinkhole in Mexico called the Cave of Swallows. Who here's ever heard of it? What is it? I just heard of it. It's a hole. It's a hole that you could put like 2 Empire State Buildings into. It's natural, and it's just like a cave. And guys get a running start with a parachute, and then they jump into it, and they parachute into this cave. It's amazing. You can put the whole school in its diameter. It's very big. Anyways, I watched this when I was a kid. When I was like 13, 14, I remember watching the Discovery Channel and going, wow, that shit's amazing, you know? But today, I have the ability to turn that into reality. And it's still amazing, but I can do it. And I know I can. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to go up in America. Appalachian Trail runs from the whole East Coast is basically the Appalachian Trail all the way up to Maine. And you can't take your bike or trike or anything, so I'm going to actually walk the Appalachian Trail is my goal, or a large percentage of it. Up through Canada, my hometown, if you don't know USA, is Detroit, which is right here. And then I cross across the United States to Los Angeles. And that'll take me five years. And over those 5 years, I'll have the ability to check off all those amazing things on my bucket list. And I hope by the time I finish, I've got a whole new bucket list of amazing things that I've checked off or have plans to check off too. Because it's not about finishing everything that you have in your mind right now. It's about expanding your mind to have a whole new persona. A lot of people ask me, they say, what are you going to do? You're going to stay in America when you're finished? You know, that's a crazy question. That's like saying, you know, when you become another animal, when you become a giraffe, what are you going to think? You know, you can't answer questions like that because I might be a giraffe in a certain aspect. I might be a completely different person. I hope I am, because every time you achieve a different level of life, you're a completely changed person. Your priorities change. Maybe my bucket list will lose some items. I don't need to do that. They're not important anymore. And they'll be replaced by more amazing items, you know? And therefore you have an amazing trip on an amazing thing. Has anybody ever seen one of these before? Raise your hand. This is a trike. It's not a bike, and it's not a big wheel. Who had a big wheel as a kid? Okay, I did too. And that's one of the reasons why this was a very difficult decision for me, because Ryan and I, my friend from before, I was supposed to go with him originally on this whole trip. And it was his idea to choose this mode of transportation. And when he talked to me about it, oh yeah, it's like a bike, but it's got 3 wheels. And I says, I had one of those. Had a little bell on it. Oh, yeah. Yeah. But it was a child's play toy. It wasn't that thing that I'm going to ride around the world on this thing, you know. But it has some advantages. One, it's stable. A bicycle couldn't sit like this unless you had the kickstand on. And even then, it'd be on slight angle. When I have so much video and technological equipment, it's important that things don't shake up too much and that they stay stable. This has 3 shocks. So on the front tires, as well as the rear tires, there's shock absorbers and springs. So it's a lot like an automobile, which is cool. This gives you that comfortable ride when you're riding in areas that actually rip your trailer apart. This is my second trailer, by the way. My trailers get shaken up so bad, they just tear to pieces on the roads here in China. The other thing that's cool about this is, if you can't see, it's very relaxing. you could sit in a reclined position and you pedal forward. Now, there's no electricity on this bike, Trike. There's no electricity. It's all based on self-power. So, in essence, you are literally riding, you're pushing yourself through the world. There's no engine attached. That was another rule that I had started for myself. I didn't want to have to rely on something, maybe even gasoline or some sort of battery power. I wanted to be the person that powered myself around the world. It was part of my mission, what I wanted to do. So I can sit, I can relax, I can power myself through. It's very stable. And you never seen anything like that before. So there's a certain wow factor as well, So you're riding through the world, you're attracting people that are interested in unique things, You'd be surprised how many people stop in traffic. Like they stop their car on the highway, they all four windows open up, 2 are outside here, 2 are in the side view, and they're all snapping pictures of you, and there's people honking. Half of them are honking and the other half are giving the thumbs up, even they're stuck in traffic, giving you your thumbs up. There's a lot of weird energy going on. Most of it's positive. Sometimes it's negative. Sometimes it's negative from me. Sometimes people will want your picture so bad that they run me off the road. They will literally jackknife me, push me off the road. Hey, 多少钱？多少钱？哦，很酷。你是哪里人？哦。They do this. I go, yeah, 自行车。哦，好。可以拍吗？I says, yeah, you could have taken my picture if you didn't run me off the road. Anyways, so I have this really interesting thing. I've got a trailer that holds most of my gear. And according to most world travelers that ride by bike, I'm completely insane. I'm completely insane because I am carrying so much stuff that most world travelers, actually they say the same thing. They're like, so naive. You're going to end up with nothing in like 6 months, They all say the same thing because they've all been through it. They think, okay, I'm going to ride my bike for a 3-month tour. I'm going to take 3 pairs of pants, 10 pairs of socks, 16 shirts, my MacBook, my Atari, a TV, you always go too high, you end up taking too much. I've been planning this trip for 2 years before I left. For 2 years, I bought the lightest tripod my money could buy while still being stable. I purchased the lightest weight lenses, but they're actually not very lightweight, DSLR lenses. I'll get into that later or in the film class. I streamlined my camping gear and my clothing. This is what I have for the next 5 years as far as clothing goes. Actually, it's too heavy. They're right, I'll probably cut this in half. This is the only thing I can cut in half, my clothing. Because to me, my clothing has the least amount of priority, As long as I can cover the important spots, I'll be happy. But the stuff that people might think is crazy to carry, like a 4 terabyte hard drive to store all my videos, that's just crazy. Hold it. Don't drop it. My life is on there. But you can feel it's pretty heavy. It's like a brick. And literally, my life is on here. 4 terabytes holds basically the last 3 years of my life. But that's going to fill up. So I have 2 more of those right here. Batteries and cables and doodads and lav mics and time-lapse, what is this called? No, this is for your DSLR, so you can get those time-lapse photography. Intervalometer. On an interval of like 30 seconds, it'll snap one picture. That's how you get those 6-day or even a year-long interval time-lapse movie, you know? And I really am fascinated with those, especially when you're riding around the world, getting that sunrise, sunset, you know, arcing across the sun arcing across the sky is amazing. Now, again, let's go back to those world travelers on their bikes that are looking at me like I'm some kind of crazy guy. If you were to add up my weight, the bike's weight, the trailer's weight, and all my gear, it's 160 kilos. It's like 400 pounds. I'm pushing 400 pounds myself up and down and around and on bumpy roads. But my motivation drives my ability. They say I'm crazy for carrying so much weight. I say, this is what I've accepted. I want to do it, you know. A lot of people, they're puffing and huffing, and they're saying, I took too much. I've got to let go, because their priority isn't making videos. Their priority is riding. My priority is this. It's much greater than pedaling. Pedaling is part of it, you know. So, yeah, so my gear choices have been very specific, very special. And obviously, like this camera and these lenses, if you're interested, I've got a macro focus, 100 millimeter, so you can get those really beautiful depth of field. I've got this, which is a 16-35, which gives you a little bit of a wider lens, my most common one, and my 24-105, which is like your go-to kind of zoom lens. It's crazy that I'm taking all of these, and many people say just take one lens, but I want to have variety. I want to have something that is not like what other people have done. And in a lot of cases, if you want to do something that's outside the realm of what anybody's done, you got to push the boundaries. If you want to make a video that's pretty amazing, then you got to diversify. You got to carry more stuff. A lot of guys tell me, this is funny, I was on Facebook and I was talking about the weight, and this guy on Facebook gave me a diatribe about GoPros. He says, GoPro's good. He's like, you don't need anything else. Yeah, the GoPro. You just take the GoPro with you. It'll get all the shots you need. GoPros are pretty great. I didn't know if he was a spokesperson for GoPro, but I do have 2 GoPros, and they get a few shots. But I want my stuff to be a little bit farther reaching, a little bit more vivid, a little bit more amazing. So I take cool things like an H4n recorder. It's not the best in the world, but it's something that you can have in the field and get some really good quality sound from. I have lav mics. I got hard drives galore. And then with all this hard drives, I got to have hard drives to send back and have duplicates. Because if somebody, God forbid, steals my Trike, or I get into an accident, or a solar flare burns and, you know, fries my stuff, I've got to be able to have a backup, or else my mission in life, which is to make all these videos, kind of is puffed to the wind. Speaking of videos and my mission in life, the goal to generate money and generate a future for this is with travel documentaries. And every place that I go, well, most every place that I go, could you zoom in on this area right here? Most every place that I go, close. Yeah, just click on the blue part. Yeah, there we go. I had this map made. You'll never see anything like this. I actually worked with a designer for Google Maps, and we created this specifically for the trip. So if you clip on this one right here, this one, that's okay. Yeah. This is Yellow Mountain. So you'll have, this is, you don't have to click on it, but this would tell my ride data, like how high I went, how low I went, what my speed was to get to this point. It keeps all my ride data, which is pretty cool. Has a description of the place I went to, and then this is my Travelogue. And this is the video about that location on the map that I visited. And the great thing about social media today is that you can make a video of any length you want. So if I have 5 minutes of amazing story to tell about Huangshan Mountain, I make a 5-minute video. If I have 30 minutes of amazing mountain video that has relevance to the story, then I can make it 30 minutes, you know? And so I've created these stories. I've got about 1,000 people on my YouTube channel. I'm doing pretty well. Every day I get more. My phone is constantly buzzing with people that are telling me that they told their friends about me, and things are starting to grow virally, which is what my intention was. But my real idea is after a year of traveling, I will have finished Mount Everest. I'll be climbing down, and I'll have an amazing story on video to tell. And I've already talked to National Geographic and Discovery Channel, and I have a few agents in the USA that really like the idea of what's going on. And my hope is that I can get a show on TV, you know? And the cool thing about doing this first and then going for the TV show is that it maintains the integrity of the trip. So I can tell them what I've been doing is doing pretty well. You can board this train instead of me having to, you know, like if I was to go to the Baba Chunar people and say, hey, Baba Chunar is a pretty good show. I've got an idea. I'm traveling around the world. You want to do on my show? They'll say, yeah, we can do it. But you're going to go here and do this, and then you're going to go here and do this. You're going to meet our guy here, and you're going to do this. And you know what? You don't need to ride the bike in between. We'll just take the bike, we'll throw it on a plane, we'll fly it there, you know, and then suddenly it's not your amazing adventure around the world. It's the Baba Chunar show, you know, or the JaYoe show. Whereas now, I get to live the life I want to live because I've thought about it, I've planned, I've risked, I've given up things, but I've also been able to create something that I'm really happy with and live the life of my dreams, and, you know, now I'll get to share it with the world. So, I mean, that's, in a nutshell, what I'm doing. And, I mean, there's obviously more details as far as the health class side of things and the video side, but kind of getting a good gist of what I'm doing. That's it. JaYoe. Oh, and then JaYoe. Anybody, who knows what JaYoe means?
Let's go, Mandarin kids. Hold your hands up.
Well, JaYoe is a take on the Chinese JaYoe. Chinese JaYoe in pinyin is Jiayou, right? Now, if you're American, how would you pronounce that without knowing pinyin? If somebody came to you with Jiayou, what would you say? Yeah. It's difficult for us because we've been here. But if you show most of the people in America, they would say Jiayou, Jiayou, you know. That's not JaYoe. If you listen to anybody that says JaYoe, it's very JaYoe. So it's very JaYoe-ish, you know. So the actual meaning of JaYoe is Ja is add. Actually, you know what? We could play that video. That's a fun video. Yeah, the other tab there. It's the first video on the screen. Yeah, just a little bit. I do all my own videos, all my own editing. Everything is done on the road. This video actually was my first attempt at After Effects, which is what they use to make explosions in movies and people's blood, guts piling out. Mm-hmm. Oh, it loads pretty quick.
People often ask me, what does JaYoe mean? In the Chinese language, there are two characters, Jia and Yo. Jia makes the Jia sound. Yo makes the Yo sound. Jia means to add. For example, 1 Jia 1 equals 2. Or, if you need to add or Jia some gas to your car. Which leads us to Yo. Yo means fuel. The stuff that makes things go. Put them together and you get JaYoe. Literally, they mean add fuel, but it can also mean much, much more. JaYoe can be chanted as encouragement to a marathon runner. JaYoe can be spoken into the ears of somebody on the verge of inspiration. JaYoe can be the phrase that helps support someone pursuing their dream. JaYoe relates to the fuel inside all of us, giving you the power to go farther than you ever thought possible. So dig deep within yourself and discover what you love, where you want to go, what you want to do, and how you want to do it. And don't let anything stand in your way. JaYoe.
That's what JaYoe means. So, yeah, this is it. Any questions? Anything you'd like to know?
Yeah, I think we'll do some more questions on the second half too, but we can go do a good round of them here because there will be especially if you have a question and you're not going to be here for the F period, for the second period, then think about it, ask it right now, and that'll maybe take us off to a couple different
Topics.
And Chicago's going to get you on boom mic her first time ever use it, so she hit you in the head. She's sorry. Question, any question? You have 1,000.
Yeah.
Andrew up front.
Of all the places you're going and things you're going to do, like, what do you look forward to the most on this trip?
Geez, you know, that's tough. Probably Everest, you know. I have watched, you know, the documentaries about Everest. It's crazy, you know. It's a trial, you know. It's a thing that a lot of people try, not a lot of people accomplish, the top. So it's a real test. Maybe the biggest test I might ever have on the whole trip will be, can I get up to the top? And I'm doing it in my first early part of the trip. So for me, I'm looking forward to that moment because that'll be a pinnacle of understanding, saying, okay, I know the direction of my trip for the rest of this thing. Because once you climb to the top of Mount Everest, it's kind of all downhill. You know what I mean? That's a pretty amazing thing to do. So I'm looking forward to knowing what this guy can do deep down, you know? And Everest is going to be a test and a challenge of that. That's not to say that there's going to be more amazing things that'll happen. Just, you're asking me like right now, it's Everest.
And for the sports science folks, maybe you can speak a little bit of what you're doing here in Shenzhen to work on that goal.
Yeah, actually, the ride of this trike works your legs, but it doesn't work all the muscles in your legs. You have so many muscles that cooperate to walk across the carpet or to step up on a rock on a mountain. And each one is a different set of muscles.
How about maybe real quickly, SEHS, not to put you on the spot,
Yeah.
but what muscles would you think specifically might not be getting worked in that recumbent, we call it, position on the bike? Or you can even think about which ones are being used.
The sartorius isn't.
Sartorius is not.
What is that?
The long one, it's the longest muscle in the body, goes across all of the thigh muscles. That maybe not as much, yeah, because it's more of this type motion. What is getting worked a lot, the majority of the time? Xavier? Howard? Kiefer?
Hamstrings, maybe?
Real word, please. Real name, please.
The hammies. The hammies.
Hammies. That would be what? The biceps femoris. Very good answer. Yeah, that would be worked. Rectus femoris in the front, but a lot of those, the adductors and abductor type muscles, probably not so much. Right?
Yeah. I found that when I came and I was riding, I was about 1,000 kilometers finished when I stopped in a place, and this is what I do. I'll ride for a few days and then I'll stop for a couple of days. If I feel like the area is interesting, I think at 3 days. If it's not so interesting, then I move on. This trip is completely open to interpretation based on what I want to do and what I think of the area. But I stopped in one place for a few days, and so I thought, I'll do a little run. I was like, I've been riding the Trike for a couple of weeks. I'm booked down this road, and I'll be all right. Well, I ran, and I was like 5 kilometers, Oh my God, I had pain in my legs, and it made me realize that, wow, if I want to climb Mount Everest, I've got to do a lot more than simply riding this Trike. Riding this Trike is great for cardio. My heart gets a super workout. I lose about 4 kilos of water every day. So I will start, and that's with me replenishing. Yeah, I'll go start at in the morning about 7 o'clock, and I'll finish around 6 o'clock, and it'll be hot. I'll be sweating. I don't really urinate at all. I drink and drink and drink, and it just sweats out, sweats out, sweats out. It's like a machine. I have great pores, by the way. You girls, if you want to have good complexion, you just ride a bike 120 kilometers a day. That'll fix you up right quick. But so I had a friend in Shenzhen named Josh, and he has his partner John Graham. I don't know did they know John?
Raise your hand if you know John. If you've been at Fusion Fitness or the Fresh Fitness, that's more low weekend.
Yeah.
If you're in Fusion Fitness, you've probably seen John Graham. He's the American who's completely ripped. He has like 0.5% body fat.
Yeah.
He's a big workout instructor here in Shenzhen.
He's a Hulk. Anyways, I talked to them and I said, hey, I'll be in town. I would be really interested in cooperating with your gym, but in turn, you can help me by preparing for Everest. So I'm on a fitness routine with them that they're molding together that I can use in conjunction with my form of transportation. So let's say I don't have a dumbbell, but I have the rear of the Trike here that I can lift up on. Let's say, I don't have a kettlebell, but I have a few bags here with handles that I can load up, because my life is strange. I can't go to the fitness center around the corner. I don't have access to the Whole Foods market where I can get those, this whole back area, that's whey protein, I can't do those kind of things. So I have to have a regimen and a health regimen that supports my lifestyle and also leads to the eventuality, which is me climbing Mount Everest. Climbing Mount Everest is a huge, taxing physical activity on your body. And if you're not ready before you start, you're not gonna do it. You have to be prepared. So I'm here working out at Fresh Fitness, and they're getting me ready to climb the mountain. To say my most worked area which I've had the most pain in, are the 2 tendons that go up the back of your knee. And I rode a bicycle before I got the Trike, and I did not have that pain. So this is a very recumbent, centric muscle, I believe, or tendon. And it's that area right behind. Actually, my leg armpit is fat, which is weird. I think most people behind their knee is a little bit more pocketed, but my area back there is thick because I think that my leg is doing more of a flat sort of push kind of position. So.
Question?
water being so heavy, you're talking about weight, but then also traveling through the world, what is your water source to stay hydrated? Where do you get your water from if you don't want to carry it and you can't always stop at the store and buy it?
Well, my Trike seat holds 2 bottles. I can put 2 of the tall bottles in the back. There's enough room. I also have I have straps on the back. I could strap down bottles if I was going through like a desert. But I found that what I do is I end up filling these. I fill both of these up at the beginning of every ride. And they're meant as emergency only, really. Because for the most part, in Southeast Asia at least, you're always running past little shops with a little refrigerator. And I'd much rather have cold water, or a nice refreshing cold water than my boiling hot, chair-mounted bottles. I find that I drink about 10 to 15 bottles every ride. Normal sized bottles of water. And like I said, and I lose weight at the end. So literally it's going out and more. So I've been riding in like the real heat is like in the 40s, but the heat index was like 52. I think was the hottest I rode in so far. That'll be break in India, I think, definitely. But I find that I can ride pretty well in the heat. I stop in shade when I can, and I stock myself full of water. I've had one experience where I carried extra water, and that was, I think I was riding through Jiangxi, and it was just kind of, I looked at the road map the day before, and this is what I'll do. A lot of people ask me, like, what do you drive? Like, what plan do you have? I don't have a plan. I only plan about 1 or 2 days ahead, if that. Sometimes I don't even plan a day ahead. I just look at the map and I try and figure out what roads I might be able to ride on and talk to a lot of people. Sometimes you'll get the old Chinese guy, they'll look at the bike and then they'll go, they'll do that. And I'll say, well, yeah, you might be wrong, though. Most of the time when they say you can't, you actually can. It just takes time, So, yeah. I'm not so worried about water right now because it's so plentiful. That'll change.
Are those extra bottles on the panniers right there?
Yep. Actually, those panniers were donated to the trip. The Trike was made in Germany. I flew to Germany to build this Trike. I actually built this Trike myself. And we disassembled it, shipped it to China, and then I rebuilt it. But these bags were from a supplier in Germany, and I'm getting rid of them. I have some new ones that will arrive in a couple of days. This is really nice. I'm staying in Shenzhen for a month, so it gives me time to resupply, maybe lose some items I found are not quite suited for my trip and get some ones that are a little bit more suited. The bags are great, but they're not really designed for things that are so symmetrically, like so squared off. I have a lot of computers and hard drives and things. These bags would work great if you stuffed them full of socks and shoes and tents and stuff, but not for my inorganic shapes, So yeah. I like nuts. I like cashews and almonds. There's good protein there, and they're filling, and it only takes a handful. A very strange thing is I'm not hungry. When I ride a long distance, I just don't. It's not like I don't feel like eating. It's just I have no hunger. I look at food and So if I can cram a handful of nuts for lunch, and then I drink like crazy, and I like juices. I don't know if it's healthy, but those juices that have the pulp in it from Minute Maid, it's kind of like you're eating, right? I'm like eating an orange when I drink that thing. So I like to drink that, and then at the nighttime, if I have an appetite, I like Chinese food. I don't. this isn't a marathon race, you know, so I'm not concerned so much with eating great so that my body is in tip-top shape. I'm burning so much that I could pretty much put anything in that fire. It's gonna burn up about the same, you know. So I just a lot of times for dinner I force feed myself because I'm really not hungry, but I know I have to get calories, so I do that. In the morning, I normally, which is probably not recommended, but I start off with a cup of coffee and then I go. I don't even eat anything in the morning. I just go.
Beyond your bike and what you have here, what are your personal possessions? Worldly possessions?
I play the flute, so I carry my flute. I have an erhu. I play the erhu too. Who knows what an erhu is? Erhu is a Chinese instrument that the Chigai play on the streets. You know, Chigai is homeless people. You know, they play the erhu. Anyways, but I couldn't carry an erhu, so I had to take my dizi. Worldly possession. I carry 2 pairs of shoes. One of them is my bike shoes, which are my Shimano locking shoes, which lock into the pedals in front. I have a pair of sandals. I have a couple of pairs of pants, lightweight. Everything is kind of parachute pant kind of style material. And I carry you know, your bathroom kit. I got to keep that, you know, my hair looking fantastic, so I carry a lot of hair products. I do carry the tent, but I've only used it once. I'll probably use it a lot more when I get into some more rural areas, but China, you can find a hotel almost everywhere. I like hotels. I don't stay in hostels. Hostels are awesome. So if you're traveling with a backpack, go to hostels. You're going to meet a lot of cool people. Who here stayed in a hostel? You guys need to start traveling. Really. Hostels are like traveler hotels, backpacker hotels. But I can't. And so what I do is I go to a hotel. I find a hotel. I book myself for the night. It doesn't have to be a great hotel, just a locking door. And I put the trike in the hotel. The trike actually folds up. You can take the seat off. The front folds in half. And for the most part, it's pretty small. So you can put it into the doorway of a hotel, and it stays there every morning. I go through the routine where I unfold the trike, put it together. It takes me about an hour to leave every day, not including like shower. Like it takes an hour to get all my gear together and get out the door and on the road.
Beyond what we see here.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, this is it. This is my life. Everything here, beyond what I buy on the road, you know, like I do have an office in Ningbo, my old trading office. So if I need, like I have, Everest requires a very special type of gear, Mount Everest. The boots I bought from a supplier of Everest products. They're heavy. Like I'm a 45, my foot's a 45. These boots are like enormous, and they were $1,000 just for the pair of boots, you know, and they're going to keep my toes so that I don't lose my toes. So those are in Ningbo. When I get to Kathmandu, I'll have one shipment sent out with that. There's certain things that I had to leave. They're not useful to me at all on the road, but I do need them. But as I get to colder climates, I'll just throw away clothes and then get new ones. I'll probably have some sweaters with the JaYoe logo made up, and then I kind of like the idea. I actually have different colored JaYoe shirts. Every day, if you watch my videos, that's one way I time code my videos. Every day I pick a new color. So I got about 6 colors. No, that's not clean. But I've got about 6 colors, and I rotate them. Based on the new day, so that when I'm editing the video later, I'm like, why did I just switch from a green to a yellow shirt? Oh, I must have slept at a city in between. And then it helps me to kind of figure out, as I'm just freely editing, you know, that I need to put a new title block next day, you know, whatever. So yeah, this is everything. Is it a lot or a little? Looks to me like a lot of stuff, but Maybe it's a little when you consider it's your whole life. Can you sum up your whole life in an area like this? I don't think so. I think your girls have more shoes probably than all my stuff put together. Any other questions? Are you going to count it later? She's going to be like 10,233 RMB. No, I have. I carry plastic. I have a number of bank accounts actually that I set up for this purpose. I have an HSBC account. I have a China Merchants account, and I have a Citibank account. Each one has a different card attached to it because I'm always worried that one card won't work and then I'll be stuck. So I have a variety of payment methods. I also have a PayPal account with money stashed in it. I've got money in a lot of different places because I'm always prepared for the worst. You really have to be prepared for the worst. You don't think about it too much, but you have to accept the fact that tragedy can strike. There will be a day where I will lose something of great importance to me. And as long as you are willing to understand that that can happen, then when it does happen eventually, then it doesn't hurt you so bad. So, like for example, like we were talking about hard drives, this is a 2 terabyte hard drive. This hard drive will load up with all my new footage and be sent to Ningbo because I always keep a backup. You know, so like I carry this extra weight because it's important for me to make sure that I have a backup that I can send back home. Hopefully, I can send this off before some tragedy strikes, or else I'll be stuck with my backup and both will get lost. You don't need to carry much. There's banks everywhere. You know, you pull money out as you need it. But it's a good question.
Have you met up with anyone on your trip that rides with you for an extended period of time, or will that happen in the future?
When I created this trip with Ryan, it was a 2-guy trip. And I thought, no matter what, it's 2 guys, we're going to have a great time. We'll never be lonely. You know, I'll be able to go. That storyline ended with me kind of telling Ryan that I'm going to go solo. When I thought about that, I said, I'm a cyclist. I'll probably meet a lot of other cyclists on the road. There probably won't be a lot of solo time. That has not been what has actually happened. Most of the time, all the time, I've been solo. I did have a guy that had a mountain bike, and a Chinese guy, you know, they'll ride, they'll see me, they'll try to ride with me. But this is slow. Extremely slow. Which is why people tell me I'm carrying too much stuff. I mean, 400 pounds is a tough thing to push, you know? You're like, I'm pulling that weight. So in a lot of cases, if the road is very, you know, up and down or rough, I'm only going 10 or 15 kilometers an hour. You know, you could probably jog that, you know, and that's what I use to get from place to place. Very slow, and it's a very big burden on somebody that say is just riding on his bike, you know, and he's cruising at 30, 35, and so this guy, he would ride, and I feel guilty, you know, I always feel bad, you know, oh, you're not gonna wait for me, just go, I'll meet you at your destination. We were going to the same city. And so he would go like 3 cities ahead, and then I would catch up to him. And then by the time I met him, he was finished with his break, ready to get on the road. And here I wanted to stop and get some water. It was a difficult thing to manage. There are a number of people riding around on similar setups, trike and trailer. And I know them because they all know me. We're kind of a tight group of people. You're doing something so unique, you end up drawing similar people doing similar things. There's actually an older couple that are riding around in Thailand right now, and they have dogs. They actually have trailers, dog trailers, and they take their dogs with them. and they're traveling around the world. When I say old, that's another thing with this bike. The Trike is geared. Originally, this sort of vehicle was created for people with disabilities, for elderly people that have chronic back problems that they can't sit on a bike anymore, or maybe those people with amputees, they don't have legs. You know, you've seen the guys with the hand crank bicycles, or you know, so the image around this vehicle is kind of not this sort of rider, you know. So I really like this mode of transportation, and as I ride it more and more, I'm falling in love with this product, you know. But I'm hoping that I can kind of show that this is more of an everyman kind of vehicle, and not necessarily for those, you know, 80-year-olds that are looking to continue to stay athletic. But it is for them as well. But I say this because recently there was an article in the Wall Street Journal that I think the title of it was "Old People Have Something to Ride Now," something like that. It was very. If I would have read that story before I bought it, it would have swayed my opinion a little bit. Like, I don't want to be like regarded as that old guy riding that truck.
You could have flames.
Yeah, flames. I could put flames as a flag, like a red, white, like a rainbow flag. A rainbow flag on my truck. Wait a second. I don't like that at all. Wrong signal.
So you said you go up hills sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you have any, does the Trike have any gears to help you with
Yep.
that?
The Trike's cool. You guys can look at it later, you know, when we finish.
And we're trying to get people that are going to be leaving to H period. We'll all take a break so everyone can go out, use the restroom, that sort of thing. But if you're leaving for H, go ahead and come up and you want to check it out. Don't step on anything, but check it out a little bit closer if you're not going to be here for the second half. Why don't you all come up here and stand up the front? There you go.
I'll show you
if
the
you're
Trike.
leaving to F, come on up. Yeah, check it out. Which is mostly just standard stuff. Come on up, look. And think about when you're looking at this, what would the difference be if you're just picking a standard road bike or a mountain bike, like an upright? What are some things that you would like on this? What's different about it? Two major things.
So, to answer your question, I've got 14 gears. So, and my gears are all shifted right here. And you know what? It would be interesting. Take a bag off. Let me take a bag off. I'll actually take this off too. One of the things that I had on this Trike that is kind of special is I have what's called an internal hub. That means that I don't have any of those star-shaped gears that are visible. You know, like you normally have a 10-speed bike or whatever. You have a gear hub. Instead, what I have is an internal hub. And it's all right here. It's all inside the rear hub. So the shifting is all instant and it's inside. You know how normally your bike has a wheel has to be spinning in order to shift gears? Here it's all automatic. It's kind of like a car. So your steering is in the front wheels, and the turning radius is actually pretty good. Like I can turn on a regular road, I can do a full turn like a car. It's not as tight as a bike, but I'm carrying a trailer and things anyways, so that's cool. I've got these two things which are called lift assists. They actually serve no purpose except for it helps kind of sit down, and I can mount my computers, and my phone with my GPS is always right there. And I have my GoPro, which I normally do my riding shots on. I have a horn that is connected to an air. It's air pressure, so it's not like electric or anything. I don't have to worry about it. I just pump up that air pressure horn, and it works for a while, and it's very loud. Like that wasn't fully loud. It can get much louder. I've got a little gay bell that makes a little dingy sound that doesn't even, I barely hear it. You know.
Yeah, don't use that.
Don't, right? I've got a parking brake that is engaged almost all the time, you know, when I'm in stop position. And rear view mirrors. One of the things that's difficult on a Trike
Well, first, it's very nice, comfortable on your neck. You can see. You guys can sit in it if you want. But if you want to look behind you, you know, you gotta torque your body around. So your rear view mirrors do really well. Normally, I just catch the trailer. I'm always worried that I'm going to lose my trailer because I almost did. Actually, this thing here is to prevent my trailer from continuing to break. I was riding in Jiangxi province, as a matter of fact, and this piece here, this whole thing broke off. So this was left dangling, and my trailer was left behind me. And I've got a rear cage here. You can see the suspension has a lot of travel, you know, so you can really absorb a lot of shocks. That's why I put most of my computer gear here, so that it stays on the rear cage and it doesn't get so rattled. The seat can come off. I've got storage areas all over the place in the back of the chair, as well as these 3 bags. This is my sun bag. This is my phone battery bag. I always have a battery running. My iPhone 5 is like useless now. The battery runs out so quick because I'm constantly pushing power into it, even if it's full, which isn't recommended. But if I'm running VPN and my GPS and my cycle computer, which my cycle computer is really cool. If you guys go to my website, JaYoe.com, you can join and you can see my progress on my Facebook, and the computer will tell my Facebook that I've started writing, and when I finish, it will tell everybody I finished, so you can actually see where I started, where I ended in the day. And yeah.
You talk about how you power it, and then this guy too.
Oh yeah. Okay, so if I want power, I just have to move. So my wheel has something called a dynamometer, and it powers the rear and the headlight, as well as a USB that is like a universal USB acceptor. So I can either power my power pack, you know, to recharge my power pack on the road, or power any USB device. This is kind of cool. It will finish, I guess, with that we need. I needed to have some protection from the sun and rain, so I created a canopy. And I built this canopy myself with a friend of mine who ran a tent company in Ningbo. He actually makes really, really cool tents that are supported on like 3-point tent. It's like a hammock, but from 3 points, so it would connect there, there, and there, and it creates a really cool like tree tent. And I approached him and I said, hey, if I'm going to be riding this around, I'm going to need some protection from the sun and the rain. So we came up with this canopy.
So the bell will ring in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Keep setting this up and everything.
Yeah.
If you're staying, go take a break, you know. Grab some water, and you can grab one of these cards that has a little scan code thing, so you can get on there that way. But
Yeah, my
definitely
Facebook and everything.
JaYoe.com and a way to connect and all on your way out, so you'll be able to do that with them. I'll have this over. Mr. Sanders will have these at the door for everyone leaving.
Yeah.
And that's how it works. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That would be horrible.
Well, you know, it could act. You know, I was thinking it could act as a sail. Like.
When you get tired.
Yeah. Forget about it. Just fly. And then let's see here. I haven't even set the. To be honest, I haven't used it as much as I thought I would. I was like, yeah, I'll be using this everywhere. But I found that I kind of enjoy the sun, and you get used to it. You get used to that extreme heat. But I'm sure when I get to certain areas, like in Southeast Asia, I'll appreciate that.
If it doesn't exist, build it.
Exactly. And it's very manual. Like I kind of
sat with this guy and I said, well, what do I want? So let's figure it out.
In my classes, if you've seen the first few Travelogues, I think this was maybe like the second or third one, can you see what it used to look like? If you saw the first couple of them, that it all went to a point. It had the kind of screen on it. It was transparent, like, clear. Of course, once it started to rain, that clear, it doesn't have windshield wipers, so
it was horrible.
Little design flaw.
But you learn. Anyways. Anyway, yeah, so that's my cover. Yeah. And these sides kind of curve around. I really was important that I protected this. This box holds all of my electronics and sensitive components. So for me, protecting that rear cargo area was really important. And when you're riding, it does pretty well for not catching too much air, but it does slow you down. It's like having a parachute on the back of your bike. So I found that I would rather have a little bit extra sun than slowing down too much. And I found that I'd just rather not use it in most cases. In emergencies, if it's like downpouring, then yeah. Plus, I have a bigger tarp that can fit over this. And if I'm like really tired and I just want to protect myself and crash, this could be a tent. And you can get into it from the front, which...
All right, well, the bell has rung, so even though we didn't hear it, but feel free to, if you're leaving, come up, maybe grab a picture of it all, and let's all...
Hey, thanks, guys.
Computers up front.
Let's all do a JaYoe on 1, 2, 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. JaYoe! All right. So we'll take a 10-minute, the film, sports, and everyone else that's staying, and you can kind of move forward to the closer chairs. We'll get more into the design of how we edit and everything.
Yeah.